Public land composes nearly 40% of the total U.S. land base. These lands are managed in a variety of ways by a combination of federal, state, tribal, and local agencies. Land uses include recreation, mining, grazing, timber, conservation, and various forms of energy development, such as that of oil and natural gas. The leasing of federal public land for oil and gas drilling has been occurring officially since 1920 with the Mineral Leasing Act. For the last century, it has made itself a cornerstone of the U.S. economy and played a fundamental role in establishing global dominance. Oil and gas activities are primarily authorized by the federal government's Bureau of Land Management, which oversees the greatest amount, 10%, of national lands. Best practice guidelines for cleaning up non-producing oil and gas lands are common. However, the available combination of rules, enforcement, and/or funding are often inadequate to encourage restoration. As a result, many thousands of sites are routinely abandoned. The last mass study of these lands, performed by the EPA in 2018, estimated between 2 to 3 million abandoned across the country.
Abandonment of these sites will mean a loss of biodiversity, vegetative cover, and habitat. Development for oil and natural gas also leads to soil compaction and destabilization, as well as forest and habitat fragmentation. Abandoned sites can leach various toxic chemicals into the surrounding watershed and atmosphere. Without proper regulatory action, it will be easier for more sites to be abandoned and have less preemptive measures to keep the toxins from leaching out of the sites. These chemicals have substantial impacts on human health, particularly the cardiovascular and respiratory systems, and if left untreated are often severely debilitating if not fatal. With so many of these sites being abandoned, they pose a larger risk to our drinking water and air quality, as well as our natural systems.
The Big Beautiful Bill, or H.R. 1, is a large-scale energy-focused bill that passed the House in 2025. It reportedly aims to increase the amount of domestic energy production in the United States. H.R. 1 emphasizes faster project approval and environmental assessment. It pushes the Bureau of Land Management to increase the frequency of leases and limits their ability to pause or cancel them once they have been started. It removed mandated sales of renewables connected with oil and gas leases from the Biden-era Inflation Reduction Act from 2022. Another key aspect of H.R. 1 is accelerated NEPA reviews in exchange for a fee of 125% of project costs. The Inflation Reduction Act enforced a methane tax, but the Big Beautiful Bill has gotten rid of that as well and delayed it as being something to be voted on until 2035.
Remediation is a great way to solve a lot of the environmental and health problems associated with abandoned wells. However, it does not solve the root of the cause. Oil and gas extraction fulfills the purpose of bringing income to the federal government while also providing the U.S. with energy independence. However, oil and gas are not the only means to accomplish this. A 2024 study investigated the feasibility of oil and gas extraction sites for geothermal energy production and found them to be ideal sites. The study also found that these lands could have other use cases, such as water desalination, which could prove immensely helpful on the West Coast in the coming decades. Remediation can help make abandoned wells useful again, both economically for the federal government and reduce the risk of contamination to nearby water and food sources. Ultimately, while remediation is a great solution to existing abandoned well sites, we need to tackle the issue from the top down. Possible alternative land uses for these sites include energy production via solar, wind, or geothermal, agricultural leasing, and recreational use. Policy drives the use of these lands towards the oil and gas industries, and policy is the main driving force that can push it towards a more sustainable future.